The phone felt heavy in my hand that afternoon in my quiet Denver kitchen. Sunlight slanting through the blinds onto the granite countertops I'd chosen myself. "Riley," my mother said on the other end, her voice light and casual as if discussing the weather. "I don't think you should come down for my birthday this year. I've turned the guest room into Max's space now. He's an English bulldog with breathing problems. He needs the good AC in there and his cooling bed. The couch just won't do." I stood frozen, staring at my reflection in the window. A 34-year-old woman who had built a career navigating property laws and HOA regulations in Colorado's real estate world. The words landed like a slap I had somehow been expecting my whole life, yet still couldn't believe.
"Mom,
Are you serious? You're uninviting me from your 67th birthday because you gave my old room to a dog."
she sighed.
The familiar sound of long-suffering patience. "It's not your room anymore, Riley. It's just the guest room. Max has special needs. The vet says bulldogs overheat easily. Hotels are expensive. And honestly, your visits always bring stress. You pick apart everything, find faults in how I run the house. Max doesn't judge. He's just happy to be here." Her words cut deep, each one deliberate, reopening scars from decades of feeling second to her endless stream of rescue animals. I grew up in a suburban neighborhood outside Austin, Texas, where manicured lawns and strict HOA rules define life. From the beginning, I was the disappointment to Vivian Monroe. While neighborhood girls twirled in princess dresses dreaming of fairy tales, I wore cargo shorts and built forts from scrap wood, sketching house plans on napkins. My mother never forgave me for not fitting her vision of the perfect daughter. When I was 8, she adopted a fluffy Persian cat named Princess. My handmade drawings vanished from the fridge to make space for Princess in tiny outfits. My straight-A report cards earned a quick pat on the head, but Princess's litter box success warranted a family dinner out.
By 12,
The pattern was set. My piano recitals saw empty seats because one of her poodles had a grooming emergency. My high school graduation. She slipped out early for a foster dog's separation anxiety. Even my wedding reception. She spent more time showing guests photos of her latest litter of rescues than celebrating with me. When my marriage ended 3 years ago in a painful divorce, I made the mistake of moving back home for a year, telling myself it was to help with repairs on her 1970s ranch-style house she couldn't afford alone. Deep down, I craved the maternal comfort that had always been absent. During that year, I poured everything into the renovation, $15,000 of my own savings. Endless hours redesigning the kitchen, negotiating with contractors, ensuring every permit was filed correctly. I understood zoning laws, HOA covenants, and building codes intimately from my job. When the HOA warned about her fence being 3 inches too tall, I smoothed it over with calls and paperwork. When she wanted a backyard pergola without the hassle of permits, I tried to talk her out of it, but eventually helped file retroactive approvals after she insisted it was just a shade structure. "These rules are ridiculous," she'd complain. "Only weak people follow every little thing." Yet she relied on my knowledge to avoid fines. All the while, the slights continued. She'd watch me sand cabinets in blistering Texas heat and say, "Riley, if you put half this effort into looking more feminine or finding a new partner, maybe you wouldn't be alone." Her dogs, 3 by then, had custom orthopedic beds in every room, organic food costing more than my weekly groceries, and $75 grooming appointments. I cataloged every moment. The Christmas where my $20 gift card paled against $300 on a dog spa day. The birthday dinner where she showed strangers dog photos while I sat invisible. The airport pickup she forgot because a poodle had a vet visit. I fixed issues quietly, thinking my efforts would earn love. The house value rose $80,000 thanks to my work. When I moved back to Denver, Calls grew shorter, always circling back to her animals or comparing me unfavorably to neighbors' married daughters with kids. I still called Sundays,
Sent cards.
planned visits around her, until that birthday call shattered everything. That night, I replayed our conversation endlessly. Dogs are more loyal than people, she'd said. They don't abandon you for jobs in other states or criticize your choices.
The cold crystallized inside me.
She had chosen a bulldog over her only daughter. But she forgot. I knew every corner she cut during renovations, the unpermitted pergola, the unlicensed handyman work on the bathroom window, the pathway encroaching 18 inches onto common HOA land, the fence modification approved only after I lied about timing. I had kept every email, photo, text where she told me to skip permits. Her mockery of my rule-following nature would now become her undoing. The next morning, after another unanswered call where she claimed to be at the pet store buying Max's prescription food, I sat in my home office surrounded by old photo albums. There was 7-year-old me hugging our first family dog Max on the backyard grass, grinning toothlessly while Mom focused the camera solely on the animal. 8-year-old me at a recital. Mom's seat empty for a poodle appointment. The structural flaws in our relationship were as clear as blueprints, every milestone overshadowed by pets. I opened the folder labeled Mom's House on my laptop, filled with renovation documents, permits I'd insisted on, but also the ones she bypassed. The pergola exceeded 60 square feet without approval. Text messages proved she ordered me to avoid filing. The second-floor bathroom window installed by an unlicensed friend to save fees. The concrete path encroaching on communal green space. Each had dated photos and correspondence showing willful deception. My friend Sarah called after I texted her the news. She gave your room to a dog? That's insane. I explained calmly, anger building with every retelling. She's always preferred them. I'm done making excuses. Sarah asked what I'd do. Staring at the files, I knew. Natural consequences. Mom had ridiculed my meticulousness, calling me rigid and spineless like my father. But that detail-oriented mindset let me master HOA procedures. I knew their anonymous hotline. 30-day investigation requirement. Escalating fines starting at $5,000 per violation, tripling for patterns of deceit. The new board president, a retired colonel named Davidson, enforced rules strictly after the previous lenient one retired. I hesitated only briefly before opening an incognito browser to the HOA site. This would sever ties forever. But her words, "Dogs are better than ungrateful daughters," echoed. I crafted the complaint with precision, concerned resident reporting violations at her address, attaching time-stamped photos of the pergola, window, path encroachment. Included emails proving intent to deceive. Estimated costs: $15,000 for pergola removal/fines, $8,000 for unlicensed work, $18,000 for encroachment at $1,000 per foot, plus multipliers for willfulness, potentially $50,000 plus total. I created an anonymous Gmail, Concerned Neighbor TX, and wrote a cover letter emphasizing unfairness to compliant homeowners, requesting anonymity due to fear of retaliation, praising the new board's fairness. My finger hovered over send. Facebook notification buzzed. Mom's post of Max in a birthday hat. Custom cake. Transformed guest room, my old room, with dog wallpaper. Paw curtains. Max's palace, no humans allowed. Caption: Dogs give unconditional love, unlike people. Max has brought more joy than years with family. That sealed it. I hit send. Confirmation. Investigation within 30 days. I canceled my flight and cake order, poured wine, and visualized the fallout. Inspection. Notices.
Panic calls she'd make to me.
But I'd be unavailable. 3 weeks of silence followed. I monitored her social media. Daily Max posts, strawberries, dog park trips, while my life continued with client meetings and colleague drinks. When asked about Austin plans, I said they'd changed. No details. The call came Tuesday afternoon, 13 missed calls from her. Voicemails escalating from confused, HOA mistake. You handled this. To frantic, they're measuring with cameras. To furious, how dare you ignore me after all I've done. To desperate, $45,000 fines? I need you. Next morning, I texted. In meetings. Maybe Max can help. She raged back. When I answered her call, she snarled demands to fix it. Your visits are stressful, I reminded her. You chose peace with Max. She accused pettiness over one comment. I listed 34 years of examples. Missed graduation, early wedding exit, divorce dismissal. You were an adult, she huffed. Animals needed me. Silence fell as truth settled. How did they know everything? She whispered. Because I documented it all when you insisted on shortcuts, I admitted. Anonymous complaint. Could be anyone. But she knew. My own daughter? I hung up after her threats to never forgive me. Blocked her everywhere. Number, email, social media. Clean break. Mirroring how she'd chosen animals over family. Through Austin connections, I learned the HOA's thorough probe uncover more. Unpermitted electrical in the pergola. Improper drainage diverting water to common areas. Shed height violation. Colonel Davidson assessed maximum fines. Total hit $52,000. Mom hired a lawyer who called evidence insurmountable. Charming attempts at community meetings failed against military precision. Her petition against HOA overreach flopped. Neighbors remembered her reporting their minor infractions like grass height or mailbox colors. Mac's posts ceased after the first notice. 6 weeks later, she rehomed him to a rescue. The custom room. Cooling bed. Accessories drained funds needed for fines. The house listed aggressively for quick sale, noting HOA compliance updates required. Photos showed my old room stripped bare. It sold in 3 weeks. $20,000 under asking. Proceeds mostly covering fines and demolition. New owners. Young family with 2 daughters turning the space into a lively guest room for sleepovers. I felt emptiness. Not triumph. 34 years chasing approval from someone incapable of giving it ended not in reconciliation but demolition. A package arrived months later. No return address. Photo of 7-year-old me hugging the first Max. Mom's handwriting. Before I got it all wrong. I stared at the girl seeking her mother's gaze. The woman behind the lens already prioritizing pets. I donated to the shelter in her name, but declined adopting. Unconditional love proved neither unconditional nor reliable, from mothers or dogs. I updated emergency contacts. Removing hers. Closing a door ajar for decades.